Hi everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to do a little pin and wash study of a child, and I'm just going to go through materials first and what you'll need. So you will need a watercolour paper. This is 300-gram cold pressed watercolour paper, and it's just taped down with some masking tape to an old board that I have. You're going to need your watercolours and a clean palette, some pens, water resistant and light resistant pen. This is a 04 Unipar and I have a 05 as well. You'll need a HB pencil. You'll need 2 tubs of water, one for cleaning your brushes, one for diluting your paints. Brushes, these are my favourite brushes, so I've got a big brush for applying washes but also for doing fine details, and then a smaller brush as well. Masking tape, kitchen roll for wiping up any spillages, and you're ready to go then. So starting with the drawing, I'm going to use my HB pencil and I'm going to do a little bit of measuring at first, and what I notice is that the head lengthways will go another 4 times into the length of the body. So when I come to my drawing, I'm going to use my pencil and I'm going to use it a little bit more heavily than I normally would, just so that you can see whatever shape head there is, you know, you're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 times. That's what the feet should end up there. And then what I'm going to do is just draw everything as a basic shape. So her little hood is like a half circle. Her arms are coming out there. Her body is sort of a longer, more oval shape. And if I go back to my measurement, I can see that like her little bum is about 3/5 of the way down, so I better watch that as well. So I'm kind of coming over here again, and then the little legs are like sausages. And I'm also going to watch things like the negative space. So the negative space is the space between the boots. It's like empty space. And what shape is that? Well, the shape is something like this. Okay. You see very little of the welly. You just see a little bit of a toe peeping out there. The little hands, she's wearing gloves, so they're like small little balls. Sleeve. Another hand, the other hand is out from the body a little bit more, and that's your kind of your basic shape, okay? And I'm going to tidy that up in a minute or two, but just want to get my proportions right first. I'm also going to add a little snowman over here, okay? So quite simply, it's just a sort of a bigger ball, and then a smaller ball on top, okay? The ball does not have to be a perfect shape. You can see from the finished piece kind of what it would look like, and then maybe a little hint of 2 scratchy twigs coming out, and the second twig is coming out from the body. Okay. I also am just adding little details like the ears on her her cap, and just tidying up lines, watching negative space, and I can rub out any wrong lines before I start my watercolour. If you need to rub down some of the lines, because lines can come through watercolour depending on how light or how heavy, you go with it. Okay, so just I'm rubbing away my little measurements as well. So now I'm starting with some colour, and I'm taking my brush and getting some water, and I'm going to start with a colour called yellow ochre and just dilute a little bit of it. I'm going to wash my brush again, clean it, and now I'm going to get some clean water, and I'm going to put some clean water on the little hat. I'm going to take my yellow ochre and I'm going to just drop in some nice light colour there on the hat. Taking 2 colours for the boots. One is Viridian Hue, green here. Okay, clean my brush, get some clean water And the other colour I'm going to use is a crimson, permanent alizarin crimson. I have it there. I'm putting some clean water on the boots. And I have a layer of water on, and I just drop in my green. Don't worry about it being too strong, the water will dilute it a little. So I drop in my green, clean my brush, and now I'll drop in the red into the spaces I've left. And the two colours will kind of swim together and let them do what they want. Don't be too controlling. It's hard enough, you know, to kind of control watercolour. So let them do what they want. If you were a little bit concerned that perhaps you had put on the colour and it was a little too dark or heavy, you can always take a tissue, kitchen roll, and you can dab or lift some of the colour, okay? That can be done as well. I'm keeping a little note to the side of the colours I've used so far, so you can see I've used ochre, viridian crimson, and the next colour I'm going to use is phthalo blue. So the first thing I'm going to do to the child's snowsuit is put on clean water all over the suit. At this stage the hat should be dry and the Wellingtons should be dry. If they're not, leave it for a few minutes and let them dry before you put on your film of clean water on the suit, because if they are still wet they'll bleed and run into the suit area. So I have a film of water on now. I am going to just clean my brush, wipe it, don't have too much water on your brush, and I'm going to take some phthalo blue that I have here on the palette, and I'm going to start just dropping it in into the kind of dark areas first, maybe under the hood, where the arms meet the body, around the bum and down the legs and across. Okay, so just keep working it across. Don't overstroke the watercolour. It can be tempting when you have little gaps to go back and start fiddling around. Try not to do too much of that, because you can end up digging up the colour and making things very mucky. With watercolour, it's always a light touch that you're striving for. So while I'm waiting for the suit to dry, I'm going to go and work on the snowman for a little bit. So I've got a brown here, a dark brown, that I mixed from burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, but you could also use a burnt umber, okay? And I'm not going to put on any clean water this time. I'm going straight in onto the dry paper with my small brush and just putting in my little twig on that side and the twig on the other side, and the kind of the scratchier and the bumpier it is, the more natural. I'm mixing some ultramarine blue and some crimson together to get a purple. So quite a strong purple, a lot of red in that, so I'm going to put a little bit more blue. Check your colour somewhere first before you put it on the page. So that's quite dark. This colour I'm using to kind of create the impression of snow. So I want it a little bit lighter, so how do I lighten? By adding more water. Okay, I kind of feel like I want a little bit more blue in that as well. I want to add the purple to the ground and to areas of the snowman. So what I'm doing first is I'm putting little droplets of clean water on the ground, and I'm going to drop in the purple, because when you look at snow it might appear like, oh, it's white, but you can even see subtle colours in the snow. So I'm taking my purple now, I'm just going to check it again what I have on the brush, and I'm going to put a little bit on around here, on the face, drop it into my puddles of water. Okay, the paint will also dry lighter and duller, so again, don't be too concerned if you think it's a little dark. You can always, for example, up there, I'm going to just tease it out a little bit more, lighten it with an extra touch of water. Now a little pop of red for the gloves, and a nice rich red here. Just check what I have. And I'm going to go in quite strong with the red, so I'm not actually putting any water on first. I'm just dropping it in there and leaving it be. Taking my bigger brush, and I want to create a little bit of a sense of a background, nothing too complicated, so I'm putting on a little touch of water. And I'm wiping the brush, and I'm going to take some ultramarine blue and just drop it in there into the water. Stroke wise, I probably should be going up and down, keep it kind of vertical. So I'm hinting at some sort of distant landscape, you know, not too much detail. I'm going to let everything dry now before I use the pen. Everything needs to be completely dry. So I'm using my pen now, and I'm sort of scratching over my pencil lines. I don't need to stick rigidly to my pencil lines, okay? Just, you know, hinting at shapes, letting the pen be dark in some areas and then barely there in others. So I'm working my way down the body with the pen. Again, think about fabric and sort of the lumps and bumps of the little suit she's wearing. And, you know, stop every so often and look at your work. It's not a race. Avoid going over the same line again and again, okay? Try and just do one single line and leave it at that. And also, like the different types of lines, there's like little bumpy lines where the Wellington sinks into the snow, and then your straight line for the side of the Wellington. Looking at the snowman now, and the little twigs. I suppose when we're going around the twigs, we want to show where the twigs sort of enters the snow, and then the little line underneath, and maybe a little hint of a line above, and a little point at the end. So I'm not going continuously around the twig, I'm hitting it in spots with the pen. So that's a simple enough study of a child and a snowman, and it's a good one to try if you are a beginner or you're not that confident about drawing children, because the child is faced away from you. She or he is wearing gloves, so you don't have the detail of trying to draw fingers, and it's not a portrait. You don't see the child's face, so you don't have the difficulty of describing the face. Okay, I hope you enjoy that, and keep an eye on my YouTube channel for more videos.